Last night at Extreme Rules, we saw the return of the thumbtacks, and more importantly, we saw the return of CrossFit Jesus, the man himself, Seth Rollins. So you know that Raw tonight is going to keep that momentum going, right? Right? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here with your May 23rd post-Extreme Rules Raw review. First and foremost, my fellow Canadians, I want to say happy May 2-4 weekend. You guys, like me, had Monday off, which was nice. You know, rest up and get all nice and ready for Raw tonight, which was fun. You know, all the backlash and forward lash, if that's a thing, from Extreme Rules. I will say, before we go on, a little bit of house cleaning. This week, you are going to get Ask the Phoenix, because people did come and actually ask me stuff. I'm probably going to do it on Thursday. I was originally going to do it on Tuesday. Things are a little bit different now. Hopefully, I'm going to be doing a different type of video with Guapo tomorrow night live, if technical difficulties and planning in real life don't get in the way of that. So please be sure to stay tuned for that. Be sure to stay tuned for Ask the Phoenix later in the week. And much like the past couple of weeks, the only thing that might fall off will be SmackDown review. But, you know, would you rather do Ask the Phoenix and the random special video that I got tomorrow and NXT and Raw, or would you rather have SmackDown? I think I know what the answer is. On the pre-show, holy crap, we got a lot of information on the pre-show. We found out tonight we're going to have Charlotte's celebration of the Women's Championship, which is nice. We're going to get Money in the Bank qualifying matches. We're going to have the return of Rollins, which happened the night before, so that's kind of redundant. Some of the matches we're going to see tonight for the Money in the Bank qualifying matches are going to be Zayn versus Sheamus. Gee, I wonder who's going to win that. Cesaro versus The Miz, Styles versus Owens, Ambrose versus Ziggler, and Apollo Crews versus Chris Jericho. We get reminded that Cena's coming back next week, and then we see the live Skype interview thing that they do on the pre-show sometimes. Now, I will say, it is kind of cool that, you know, it's on the network, so we want to explore. They always push the Twitter and the hashtag and all that sort of thing. You want to explore different venues on the network that is your own network, so they do the Skype thing. It's kind of cool. It's not quite the same as, you know, setting it up as, you know, live via satellite and all that sort of thing. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're shit. Anybody that knows me knows I used to record my collaboration videos on Skype, and Skype's not the greatest thing in the world. Do not put Charlotte on Skype. This was ridiculous. This was the 4 hosts on the pre-show talking over Charlotte, who's basically doing this and looking off into the clouds somewhere. But don't worry, don't fret, and don't worry your little heads. It is not the last time Charlotte will ruin the show tonight. Oh no. Oh no, it's not. Start the show off, obviously, with a replay of Styles versus Roman and Rollins' appearance, reappearance, return, whatever you want to call it, at Extreme Rules. Hitting the pedigree on Roman Reigns and showing off his black hair without the streak and his pajama pants looking wrestling gear. Oh yes. Comes out to a huge pop, huge welcome back chants. And eventually the chants go on for so long, he tells the crowd, "Are you going to let me talk or what?" Says he's been waiting 200 days for this moment, and he's waited 7 months to go back and get his title that he never lost. He shows a pic of him pedigreeing Roman Reigns on the Titantron, which gets an immediate "Thank you, Rollins" chant. He asks the crowd if he missed them, which gets a huge "Yes" chant. You didn't always feel that way, though, and here's where the thing turns. You can see where it goes from a legitimate, like, "Hey guys, thanks for the support. I really appreciated it while I was gone. You guys were really, really supportive when I was injured." You know, snap back into character. You know, you didn't always feel that way. As a champion, you called me weak. You called me a coward. You called me a sellout. My knee buckled, not because I'm weak, but because I've been carrying the company for way too long. Your flowers and fan mail went into the trash, and I set them on fire. I don't need all of you to get my title back. I've done more in the past 7 months to get back into this ring than all of you have combined in your entire lives, which is fucking great. The crowd was basically salivating to cheer for Seth Rollins, and he turned them, like I say, just like that. It was fucking great. Roman comes out. Roman comes out, but he doesn't talk, which is good, because the camera focuses on a sign in the crowd that says, "If Roman talks, we riot," which is great. He comes to the ring. Seth bails. Before anything can happen, Shane comes out. said we need to have a, you know, a nice, polite adult conversation. You know, there's a lot of unfinished business here, you know. Rollins made his first big life decision when he attacked his Shield mates with a chair and broke up the Shield. He made another big decision when he cashed in at WrestleMania for the biggest cash in ever. And he will say Rollins has a good point where he says you never really lost the title. He announces that we're going to get Roman versus Rollins at Money in the Bank. And that's the end of the segment. Nice and crisp and clean, and it's all fucking good. In the back, Sheamus is being interviewed about his match with Sami Zayn, and he cuts a shit promo in the back. And it's not Sheamus's fault. I mean, Sheamus is not great on the mic, but he cuts this shit promo that is basically WWE writers that are writing for heels. I mean, WWE makes questionable heels at the best of times, but basically everything all the WWE writers are doing right now is, if you are supposed to get booed, if you are a heel, you're going to go out there and make fun of the new guys. Because reasons. And that's all he does. He starts running down the new era, the new era, the new era. I'm going to clobber the new era. And he's going to go in and face Sami Zayn. Gee, I wonder who's going to win this match. Our first match of the night. I do have to say, and I don't usually make note of this because I know this is something a lot of other people complain about a lot, you know, how much wrestling is actually in a show. The bell for the first match of the night rang 25 minutes into the show. That's not good. For all the times that I try to defend WWE, that's not fucking good. Collar and elbow tie up and a side headlock by Sheamus. Arm drag and an arm lock by Sheamus and a shoulder takedown. Corner chops by Neville. Knee lift by Sheamus. Stomps and leg drops by Sheamus. Multiple, lots of them because my writing sucks. Oh yes. Head scissor by Zayn and they brawl outside. Moonsault off the guardrail by Zayn and knee lift by Sheamus sends us into commercial break. Both men on their knees trade punches, showing how tired they are, which is kind of nice. Sheamus gets up long enough to pop off an Irish curse backbreaker. Clothesline by Zayn, and a snap Michinoku driver, which is fucking pretty. Not only is the Michinoku driver a cool move, to pull it off in snap form is even better. To pull it off in snap form with somebody with such a size disparity as there is between Sami Zayn and Sheamus, I really got to give props to Sami Zayn on this one. I like Sami Zayn at the best of times, but I really do have to give him props for that. Rapid punches by Zayn, who gets crotched by Sheamus. Zayn tosses Sheamus out of the ring and then tosses him back into the ring, feeds him a haluva kick, and Sami Zayn gets the obvious win, and he wins the Battle of the Gingers. Oh yes, Sami Zayn is in Money in the Bank. Predictable enough. Apollo Crews is being interviewed in the back with Renee. She mentions that he's another one of these guys that's come in under the banner of the new era. He starts to talk about the match that he has with Jericho later tonight and gets jumped by Sheamus because Sheamus's new thing is just going to be that he's going to beat up all the new guys, apparently, even though he's already had a match and Apollo Crews is bigger than him. This is why Sheamus why is Sheamus? You know, in the women's division, you guys have heard me say for a long time, why is Naomi? In the men's division, why is Sheamus? I'm just saying. We could have, like, kept Alex Riley, gotten rid of Sheamus, and I think we would have upped our game. New Day comes out with a birthday cake for Raw, because this is the 1200th episode. And that's about it. They make a big deal about taking the cake out of the ring carefully so that nobody gets it in the face. They get jumped by the Social Outcasts, and we have a 3-on-3 match. I gotta say, I said this on Twitter, this might make me a bad person. Adam Rose's, I believe, release at this point makes this a lot more convenient because now it's down to a 3-on-3 match. Adam Rose's release may or may not factor into the video that Guapo and I are doing tomorrow night. A little spoiler. This match started during the commercial break, which I don't like. I know. If we have a match and it goes long, there's a commercial break in the middle, that's fine. Missing the beginning of the match takes all the flow out of it. I mean, it's a short match anyway, and it's somewhat comedy, but even still, I have to mention it because I just do. It started during the commercial break. Head scissor by Kofi on Slater and a unicorn stampede immediately by all three guys. Slingshot low dropkick combination by Kofi and Big E. Big E hits a snake. Big Eye. That's what happens when I talk too fast. Big E hits a snake eyes on Slater, because Slater's the only one getting the shit kicked out of them in this match. I should mention, I don't even think he gets a single tag. But he doesn't just hit a snake eyes on the turnbuckle like you would traditionally. He hits a snake eyes where Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods have both of their feet resting on the turnbuckle. So really, he's dropping Heath Slater onto 2 kicks in the face. Which is interesting, if nothing else. Suicide dive by Woods on Dallas and Axel on the outside, just in case they thought they were going to do anything. That double team big ending by Big E and Kofi Kingston gets the win for the New Day. And Slater gets the cake in the face. For reasons. It is. I heard a rumor that we were going to get the Club versus the Shining Stars as in a #1 contenders match for the New Day tonight. Yeah, that didn't happen at all in the slightest. Miz versus Cesaro in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. We just kind of, there wasn't really any flow to this one either. We just kind of jumped in. Uppercut trained right away by Cesaro, followed up by a dropkick. Maurice pulls The Miz out, and they start brawling on the outside. Boots and punches by The Miz, and a stalling vertical suplex by Cesaro. He does the suplex, and then Miz does what people do when they're in a vertical suplex. They start kneeing the guy in the head, so he comes almost all the way down, and then deadlifts him back up just because Cesaro is fucking Superman. Springboard corkscrew uppercut by Cesaro. Uppercut by Cesaro when we come back from commercial break. Back and neck breaker by The Miz. Arm whip and a from the knees DDT by The Miz and some mounted punches. Uppercut by Cesaro. I know. Surprise, right? Shoulder tackle and that perch clothesline spot in the corner that The Miz does so well is nice. Drop kick by Cesaro and uppercuts Miz over the rail. Top rope crossbody by Cesaro, boot by The Miz, uppercut neutralizer, Cesaro gets the win. What I am finding with Cesaro, no doubt Cesaro is a freak of nature, and he as a wrestler, he's a fucking specimen. And every now and then he'll pull out those deadlift things that he does just to be like, look what the fuck I can do. My problem with Cesaro matches is that his gimmick, sorry, it's very, very warm. His gimmick is the uppercuts. So that's all he does. He did the one top rope crossbody. He did the one really wicked deadlift suplex, as I say. But it's kind of becoming like the Usos with super kicks, like Brock Lesnar with suplexes. It's no longer how's the match going to go. It's how many uppercuts is there going to be in the uppercut train, or how many swings. He tried for okay. The one thing I will give him is he sold the shit out of his arm. Every time he tried for the Cesaro swing, he couldn't because his arm was fucked, and that's good. We see an interview in the back with Rollins where Rollins sees Stephanie, goes to hug her. Hey, it's been a long time. Nice to see you. Steph gives him the whole, things are a lot different than when you left. We're not the authority anymore. Our working relationship has to change. And so what I need to say is welcome back. And she puts her hand up in a really awkward way for the handshake. So it's just awkward. I know that's by design. It's supposed to be awkward because Seth is so surprised that his corporate backup may not exist anymore. But awkward by design is still awkward. So I really don't know, because it doesn't go anywhere. It is the other thing. I don't know. Seth Rollins may just come in and be the next guy that loses to Roman Reigns. I have a theory that could happen at. I have a theory about what could happen at Money in the Bank already, but I will save that for later. Sorry if I sound like I'm out of it, guys. I've been out all weekend. I've been in the sun all weekend. I'm more tired than usual, and as you guys know, recording at ridiculous o'clock. I've also been told I talk too fast, which is a thing that I'm already fully aware of, and it's why I sound winded half the time. So I am, to anybody that's bothered by that, I am sorry. I am aware of it, but it's kind of the way I talk. It's one of the reasons I like doing collaborative videos, because I get a chance to sit back and breathe. Anyways, enough about me and enough about my really, really warm weekend. Jericho versus Crews is next Money in the Bank qualifier. We see a replay of Sheamus attacking Apollo Crews before the match starts, which is nice. Jericho tosses his shirt in Crews' face and starts with a bunch of cheap shots to the face and head area. Boots and forearms by Jericho, a dropkick by Crews, and a snap suplex by Crews, and a mud hole. Here's what I like. Whatever happens in the corner, they have this awkward little thing in the corner where I'm pretty sure they didn't know exactly what they were supposed to do, so they both kind of backed off. Jericho is all patched up from the thumbtack spot at Extreme Rules, which is great. He's covered in these large exaggerated sized band-aids. So Crews, standing behind Jericho, just starts punching each of the bandages. That's fucking brilliant and kind of funny. And then he hits him with a slam because he can. Snap suplex by Jericho and a low dropkick. Both men trade punches and a dropkick by Jericho. Headlock and an arm trap and a surfboard by Jericho. Chops by Jericho and a rolling clothesline by Cruz. Back elbow by Cruz dumps Jericho to the outside. Moonsault off the apron by Cruz is pretty damn impressive for a guy his size, isn't it? Power slam, Enziguri by Cruz. Walls of Jericho, Enziguri by Cruz. Again, there's some kind of botch because Cruz tries to do the kip up a la Shawn Michaels, but he tries to do it at the same time that Jericho's trying to hit a lion salt. So I think one of them got hurt really badly because this match ends really quickly. They do a little bit more cluster fucking around. A quick code breaker gets the win for Jericho. It's kind of cool because so far we've got, new school guys going into this match. You got to throw Jericho in there. Not because he's going to win, but because he's going to make other people look good. He's got experience in the match. And as they remind us every year, Jericho invented the match. He really did. It's going to be one of those things where he doesn't have to ever win it because he's already got the prestige of being the one that invented it. I really think it would be cool if Jericho was all arrogant and full of himself and whatnot and went into the McMahon's office all flustered and whatnot and said, I created this match, why do I have to qualify to get in? I should get a bye. I should get a spot in this match every year automatically. But they didn't decide to go that way. Jericho gets the win. He's added to the match. We get more what the fuck with Darren Young and Bob Backlund, which I'm not going to give the time of day to. Ziggler and Corbin have a really awkward sort of tete-a-tete backstage. Ziggler basically says, you won because it was hardcore. You can't beat me in a really technical match. He kind of comes off, for Ziggler, and you guys know I like Ziggler, he kind of comes off like a nerd in this segment, and Corbin punks him out. And he says, after our match next week, you can tell me about my technical prowess when you wake up, which is fucking great. Ziggler did not look great in that segment at all. Enzo and Cass come out. Enzo is back, talks about the concussion, talks about it as just a hard sneeze, and then he goes on to promo for a while about Bub and Devin Dud, because Bubba Ray Dudley is going to take on Cass next, which is fine. The only thing I don't really understand is why are they not immediately having some sort of get back story against the Vaudevillains? I know we want to see these guys go up against bigger names. The Vaudevillains are not that big. I know they're not the champions, but you want to tie up that. Okay, I know it wasn't a story. I know it was something that really happened, but because it happened to Enzo the person, it also happened to Enzo the character. So you have to tie up that loose end. I would really love it if they tied up the loose ends with the Vaudevillains and then took out the Dudleys and then got the titles at SummerSlam. I think that's the best natural progression there. You could have face versus face at SummerSlam. Have them go through the Vaudevillains, have them go through the Dudleys, and the New Day is like, look, last time we needed to find a worthy competitor for our titles, we had to do a big-ass fucking tournament. We see what you did against the Vaudevillains. We see what you did to the Dudleys. We'd be happy to give you a title shot. Do that at WrestleMania, not at WrestleMania, at SummerSlam in Brooklyn at the Barclay. That's a good match. That's an entertaining match. They're both faces, like I say. They're both entertaining. They're the two most entertaining acts in the tag team division. So you might not want to have them work together right away. But if you're going to do it, do it. But you have to, like I say, I'm belaboring the point. You have to tie up that loose end with the Vaudevillains or else it doesn't feel right. Anyways, Bubba versus Cass starts with a collar and elbow tie up. A stiff one, obviously. These are two big guys pushing themselves around the ring. Corner chops by Bubba and a slam by Cass. Another collar and elbow tie and lots of Irish whips by Cass. I will say, I know it's fake. I know it's staged or whatever you want to say. Even though Cass is 7 feet tall, which we can't teach apparently, still watching him throw around a guy the size of Bubba Ray Dudley is impressive. Devon attacks Enzo on the outside while the match is going on. Back suplex by Bubba and some jabs and a clothesline by Cass. Rolling shoulder tackles and a splash by Cass. Cass tosses Bubba off the top rope a la... Picture anytime Ric Flair has gone to the top rope and easily and predictably been tossed off. Basically, we did that. But with Bubba Ray Dudley, he hits the boot, he hits the Empire Elbow, and he gets the win. The Empire Elbow is shit. I don't know why he didn't use the, what's he calling that big slam? The East River Crossing? Somebody correct me down in the box below if I'm wrong. Charlotte comes out with Flair and Dana Brooke. And it's just bad. I don't have words. It's just bad. We have this thing where Rick comes out, and he sounds like he's going on a little bit of a senile thing. You know, he talks about how when Charlotte was a kid and she wanted a candy, she would, you know, look all over the house. We couldn't hide the candy because if she wanted the candy, she'd get the candy. And now the world women's champion is a candy. And I almost expected Bill Cosby to come in and talk about the Jell-O pudding pop. But Charlotte says there's only two people she needs to thank, and that's herself and Dana Brooke. She proceeds to rip Ric Flair. And here's the thing. Normally, we would say that she had some really shitty stuff written for her by creative, but she still delivered it well. That's the thing. What we say about guys like Cody Rhodes, who just left the company, guys like Damian Sandow, who just left the company, you know, WWE Creative gave them something shit and made it good. The content of what she was saying to her dad, this is my problem. And this is where I cannot say that WWE Creative or the writers or whatever fucked up, because the content of what she was saying could have been impactful, could have been stinging, could have been powerful, could have been hurtful, could have been, you know, this thing that really, really digs the screwdriver into, you know, Charlotte is a fucking bitch. Because everything was right there. She talks about being sad because her dad was always gone because he cared more about the business than he cared about her. Now, you know, you were the man and now I'm the woman. You're not the man anymore. You need to get out of my ring. This isn't your ring anymore. I won't be known as Ric Flair's daughter anymore. You'll be known as Charlotte's dad. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but none of it was delivered well. And it was shit. And shit. And shit, to the point where I got on with Kristen and Guapo and a couple of other people that you guys have seen on this channel before and said, what the fuck was that? I immediately got a response from Guapo that said, that, sir, was shit. Oh, yes. It's just bad. And Rick's crying, because that's what he does. And Charlotte, even though she's the one doing the sad stuff, she's crying because she doesn't know how to act and she doesn't have a character and it's just a car wreck. And I swear to God, it's like I want those 20 minutes of my life back. Dana Brooke is the newest women's wrestler on the Raw roster. You could have had her be the only person in that ring and not say anything, and this promo would have been better. Oh, yes. The other sad thing is when Ric Flair was trying to sort of give his meaningful promo right at the beginning of this segment, he got a lot of boring chants from the crowd, which is kind of, you know, what the hell happened to you, Rick, type stuff. On to something much better. Ambrose versus Ziggler. Speaking of me before, talking about how face versus face can definitely work, Ambrose versus Ziggler in another Money in the Bank qualifying match. Collar and elbow tie-up and a lot of chain wrestling to start. Fireman carried by Ziggler and Ambrose works on the arm. Key lock, side headlock by Ambrose, drop kick by Ziggler, side headlock and a takedown, and a clothesline by Ambrose, a slam and some chops in the corner by Ambrose as well. Pinning reversal sequence and Ziggler gets dumped out of the ring as we go to commercial break. As we come back from the commercial break, double underhook second rope superplex, easy for me to say, by Ambrose. Corner splash by Ambrose and a corner splash by Ziggler. Doing, you guys know I love it, that anything you can do, I can do better kind of booking in a match is always going to work. Ambrose tosses Ziggler out. Ambrose tosses Ziggler out of the ring. Suicide dive by Ambrose. Standing elbow drop by Ambrose and a famouser by Ziggler. Mid-ring double crossbody by these two, who ragdoll better than any other two wrestlers in the company. Looks like they should be goo in the ring. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that, but they get back up and immediately start trading punches again. Super kick by Ziggler, rebound clothesline by Ambrose. Ambrose off the top rope, eats a drop kick by Ziggler on the way down. Corner 10 punch by Ziggler, who eats a headbutt, zigzag misses, dirty deeds, hits the mark, and Ambrose is going into the Money in the Bank match. Which is great, because now we've got Ambrose, Zayn, we've got Cesaro, and we've got Jericho rounding out the group so far. Coming up next, we have AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens in the final Money in the Bank qualifier, which is your main event of the evening. Except it's not. because AJ's got to cut a promo about how if it wasn't for the Usos and his friends, he'd be champion. The club comes out to confront him. They talk for a while. They do a really sad sort of "we can't be friends anymore" segment, and he says, you know, we're still friends, but we just can't work together. And the other guys are like, oh, if we didn't fight your battles for you, you know, you wouldn't be here. And Rod, it's just very lame and by the numbers. And they leave, which makes you think that something is going to happen in the match. Spoiler alert, nothing happens in the match. Oh, yes. But we do go to commercial break, and when we come back from commercial break, we get reminded of one thing and announce two things. Cena's coming back next week, because that's important. And on SmackDown, Rusev is going to take on Kalisto in a U.S. title rematch, and The Miz is going to face Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship based on Cesaro's win tonight. I like that. Cesaro's win over Miz was for the Money in the Bank match, but it still counts as a win over a champion, so he should get a title shot. Sometimes that falls through the cracks. Now, I'm going to stick to my prediction until I'm proven wrong next week on Raw. I say Rusev keeps the title on SmackDown. You quote me on this. I'm probably not going to review it, but whatever. Rusev keeps the title on SmackDown, goes into Raw next Monday. Cena's your new champion. We go back to doing the U.S. Open Challenge. And you know what? I'm kind of okay with that, because I don't know how in the past 7 or 8 days Rusev somehow became relevant again. And fuck it. Just saying. I would actually have loved to see Cena just throw... what's his name? Oh, he's that relevant, I can't remember his name. Kalisto. I would love to see John Cena throw Kalisto around the ring. I think that would be fucking hilarious. Anyways, Kevin Owens finally gets out there. We finally start the match. Shoving match and trading punches and a headlock by Owens. Owens in a headlock, yelling, "I am the headlock master," and talking some various shit to Michael Cole, calling him Mike because Michael Cole made the mistake of calling him Kev on commentary. Dropkick by Owens and a head scissor by Styles. Styles eats the apron face first and eats a clothesline by Owens on the outside. They trade punches and a forearm by Styles. Owens eats the steps on the outside as we go to commercial break. Owens rides a headlock and it's broken up by forearms by AJ. Styles drives Owen into the apron, which is a lot more effective these days, and it took place a lot last night at Extreme Rules as well. Them having the actual LED board at the side of the ring there, as opposed to just having the regular standard traditional apron, it does work, and it does make spots like that more effective. I still don't like it. I still don't like having the LED board on the side of the ring. I don't like the way it looks at all. That's a personal thing for me. I couldn't even really tell you why. Personally for me, it doesn't work as far as like presentation goes. But for something like this, where on the side that just has an apron on it, you've got the bar and then everything else is just kind of cloth. It's a little different than being thrown into an actual LED board. Look back at the Bayley versus Sasha Banks match from NXT last year, and you will see a perfect example of my point. Anyways, speaking of my point, I've lost my point and I've lost my place. Back to trading punches and some of those crazy strikes from AJ. Wheelbarrow front suplex by AJ plants Owens face first in the ring, and it's pretty damn good. Backdrop by Owens, German suplex and a cannonball. 2 boots by AJ, a back suplex, a Pele, and a Death Valley driver over the knee by AJ. Brainbuster on the knee by Owens. Again, it's that over the knee. It's that you want to try and break my neck, I'll try to break your neck. Anything you can do, I can do better. Which is fucking great, especially when you got 2 guys that are pissed off. And the one thing I do like, the commentators did tonight on Raw, not just with this match, but in other matches as well, AJ has a lot of reasons to be pissed off. Owens has a lot of reasons to be pissed off. This is going to be a good match because you got 2 guys that are pissed off, and the commentators played that up really well. Anyways, Brainbuster on the knee by Owens, who misses a moonsault. AJ goes to the top. You think he's going to hit the phenomenal forearm, but instead he hits a springboard 450 splash and a running knee. Owens recovers, drags him back to the outside of the ring, hits the powerbomb on the steps, gets him back in the ring. The pop-up powerbomb misses Pele by Styles. Owens crotches AJ in the ropes when he tries to go for the phenomenal forearm, and finally hits a successful pop-up bomb and gets the win, and that's the end of the show. Which leaves you with wrestling fan blue balls, because after what happened with the club, you figure, even if they're not introducing Balor, I'm not even calling for that at this point, but they should have had AJ's, dejected former friends come back and try to take a piece out of him or something. Or that segment was useless. You could have had it earlier in the night. You could have had AJ say what he said in an interview backstage and had that little awkward group breakup in a segment much earlier in the night and just left this as a match, but I don't think it was good where it was, how they did it. And that's really the thing for this show. The show as a whole, there wasn't a lot of filler. The closest thing to filler was the 3-on-3 match with the Social Outcasts and the New Day. There wasn't really any other matches that were bad. You had the Charlotte stuff, which was just shit. We've already got our main event and most of our ladder match for Money in the Bank, which is cool. I think it's when they announced that Owens was the winner of the last match, they pointed out there's a lot of rivalries going into that ladder match, which is absolutely true. If you look at Extreme Rules, you've got all 3 challengers from the Intercontinental title match last night in there. You got Owens and Cesaro and Zayn, and you got the 2 guys that just beat the shit out of themselves in a cage in Jericho and Ambrose in that match already. I don't know what the last 2 qualifying matches are going to be. That's apparently also happening on SmackDown. But here is my point. There's only been one, I think, person to win Money in the Bank and cash it in on the same night. And I think somebody, again, this is one of those, somebody correct me down in the box below if I'm wrong. I think it was Kane. And yeah, how relevant is Kane? But if that were to happen at Money in the Bank, it would be a really good way to get our first glimpse at a Shield triple threat match, don't you think? I think you have Ambrose win, you have him cash in that same night. Somehow the match doesn't have a conclusive finish. Somehow other people get involved or the match gets thrown out or whatever. And you have a rematch with some sort of stipulation that keeps that from happening again as your main event at SummerSlam. That is my call initially, just coming out of this first Raw, this first leg in the journey on the way to Money in the Bank. That's what I would do. That's what I would do, because Owens and Zayn need to finish their shit. Jericho's not going to be going for the title, and Cesaro's not going to be going for a title. I'm sorry. I know that breaks hearts, but Cesaro's not going to be getting a title shot, guys. Get over it. Uppercut train is not enough to become the World Heavyweight Champion. Rollins can. Roman can stay champion. Ambrose can be champion. Cesaro, no. I get that he's a great athlete. I do. You know who else is a great athlete? Jack Swagger. And where is he right now? Oh yes, that might be mentioned tomorrow night in the video that I do with Señor Guapo. Anyways, that's enough of the plugging. That's enough. I'm going to be doing the Q&A, like I said, is going to be pushed to Thursday. So you guys have until Thursday to get your questions in if you haven't already. I know a couple of you have dropped them in. It might be a shorter one than usual. That's cool. This Raw was alright. It took the momentum decently enough from Extreme Rules to take us into Money in the Bank. I do think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, or if you disagree with me, I do think having an entire pay-per-view of no DQ type matches, and then immediately the next month having a pay-per-view that's purely based around ladder matches, I think that's bad planning on the WWE's part, because you go about 2 months without a pay-per-view of just solid regular wrestling matches, and that could be bad. I'm probably nitpicking the fuck out of that, and you can tell me that down in the box below if you disagree. Anyways, I've rambled long enough, and I need to fucking go to sleep eventually. So I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.